doing? You gotta stop it, Moose. Actually, you know what? Lick what you want to lick. Welcome to the KEVID19 Show. That's one of our unofficial mottos. Lick what you want to lick. And that goes for you, Moose. Hello, welcome. This is happening. I am your host, Kevin Berrey. This is the KEVID19 Show. You can find us at KEVID19.com. I mean, you're already here, but I'm just saying, if you leave, wherever you're going, I know you're going to internet places. Welcome. Today, it's November 25th, the day before Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's Eve. And if you're watching, you're going to see we've got one of Santa's reindeers jonesing for some salt, licking it off the side of a car in Canada, of all places. It's a sad situation that reindeers are going hungry for salt. We all need it. I know I'm eating more Triscuits than usual. I know what a serving size of Triscuits is now. It's 5 Triscuits. I mean, according to some boxes say 6. It's tough. It's tough to know the right amount. And these reindeer don't know how many licks it takes to get into the side of inside a Hyundai, apparently. All right, is everybody here? I'm going to hop on to... I will be on Facebook for the chat, but... Oh, that's got to be stopped. If you're here, let me know, what are you salt licking? What salty thing are you indulging in now? Just like these reindeer who are stressed out about Christmas. They're stressed out up in Canada. What are you noshing on? And what are you trying to stay away from? Because I know for me, once I start eating Triscuits, I mean, I got to keep the box well away. It's more than 6 feet distance. I got to lock it up. That's how I am. Now, oh, wow, we got 17,000 people on Facebook. Great to see you. I'm going to just check in. What are you snacking on? That a reindeer would find delicious. It's probably too complicated of a question, but hell, we're doing it. Let's jump in here. This story is from the New York Times. A moose licking a visitor's car last month in Jasper National Park, Alberta, Canada. They're asking, why were Canadians warned not to let moose lick their cars? They want to explain it to us, and they're going to. I guess there was road signs in Canada that said, do not let moose lick your car. I haven't actually... Okay, here we go. Yeah. Anyone see this? Do not let moose lick your car. Let's see what we can get into here. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Yeah. I think if I encounter this sign, I might get into an accident. Because the first thing I would do is look around for moose. Not meese. I know a lot of you think it's meeses. It's moose. That's the plural. It's like fish. So, apparently it's a big problem. And there's a number of reasons why. I mean, one of the things is, so moose get their salt from these salt licks, apparently. And it's bad if what happens is the moose go and they go to the cars and they're looking for salt from your car, because that means it increases the chance that cars are going to be hitting moose. Gosh, that's hard to say. You really want to say meese if you're like me. Now, let's try to find out how I can get another angle on this. Yeah, let's this pop here. So here we have the sign. Now, yeah, the collisions are dangerous. Talking about an 800-pound animal in the air, smashing through the windshield, the way their legs are. You don't want that to happen. Now, the problem is that because of Instagram and people want to get pictures with these moose, you got a lot of people getting close to the animal, and it's illegal to feed a moose in Canada. And also, you can get fined. I mean, you can get fined 19 grand. It's a lot of money. But you don't want to build up this habit that moose are trying to, walk up to cars. It ends up, they become like little sluts. Not like sluts, but like I guess prostitutes. Prosti-moose is what you don't want. Is these prosti-moose coming up and doing whatever it takes to get a lick of that car. I guess that's the payment. It's not, they're not, I mean, an actual prostitute would get paid to lick something, but a moose gets paid in the salt, which is, you would think some people are like, hey, this is good. I'm going to get salt off of my car. And that's exactly what I need to do. But the problem is, it's illegal. The moose are getting hurt. People are taking more and more pictures on Instagram. They're trying to get these, and the moose are getting more and more addicted to these salt licks. I'm sure you could see the problem, as it's evolving. And then they advised that people stay, whoops, that's the wrong one, a solid moose tongue distance from the moose, which not an easy thing to measure. So what they claim is if you can just keep beyond moose tongue distance by moving on before the moose approaches, as always, it'll keep the moose in a safer, everyone's in a safer position. It's not clear if the moose is capable of transmitting COVID. That's not really at issue here, but it's, the thing is, nobody knows exactly how long a moose tongue is, and that's really where we get into a tricky situation, because there are some people who are trying to get close to the moose now just to hang, just actually measure tongue distance. So this whole selfie generation is becoming quite dangerous. We knew it was going to come back and bite us. We didn't know it was going to blast through our windshield and kill us. And Santa Claus is pissed because if you get all these reindeer addicted to salt, it's going to ruin his rounds come Christmas Eve, and it's going to be very hard to get them to fly straight. So that was a solid half hour on moose licking salt, and I think we made that happen. Now, in like Flynn, out like Flynn, I guess. This guy got a full pardon from Donald Trump. Now, I don't want to hear too much of what they had to say, but let's take a look at these images of Michael Flynn being pardoned by Donald Trump. He got a full pardon today, and Donald Trump, of course, loves this guy. Michael Flynn was one of the first people nabbed. He was only in Donald Trump's, I guess, campaign committee as like I'm pretty sure he was an advisor on international relations, defense, and he got nabbed like within weeks of serving picked up, FBI questioned him. He lied twice when they asked him if he had talked to people in Russia. And he was like, no, I would never do that. I don't talk to Russians. I'm not a Russian leaker, like some people. And then it just went haywire from there, because the dude, he did talk to Russians. Absolutely talked to Russians. He talked to this Kislyak guy. He talked about giving Russia a better shake when it comes to these various sanctions. And you're not supposed to be promising that sort of thing before you're in office or whatever, like trying to make deals with other countries. It makes it look dubious, and it makes it look like, well, what's Russia going to do for you if you're going to promise to give them a pass once you get elected? So anyway, you guys understand how that works. This is something we're going to revisit later. From there, it's not clear now what happens with our Michael Flynn situation. I mean, on the face of it, the dude's pardoned. He doesn't have to deal with anything. I've seen a few people talk about how not in this. I've seen a few people discussing how now that he's pardoned, if he were called into Congress or he called in to make any kind of disclosures to Congress, that he couldn't plead the fifth anymore. He has to tell everything that he experienced, everything he knows. He can't can claim to be trying to defend himself or anything. So that's that would be an interesting situation, I guess, if he were grilled. Because he could implicate other people. Now, this is the Blue Skies Treaty, and this comes up in things that are underreported today. Now a lot of people heard about this Flynn thing, and it does reek of corruption. I could have sworn I had something else more on that, but you can learn more about that elsewhere. I don't have, sadly. Well, why is Fifth Amendment is trending? I wonder if that has anything to do with Flynn. Let's take a look. Manhattan DA appeals dismissal of Manafort charges to New York High Court. Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't see this. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know what this is about. That the DA appealed the dismissal of his charges to New York High Court. I guess that it's an attempt. It's part of there is talk. There's a larger attempt to just dismiss all of the Trump cronies that have been punished for breaking the law. It's weird. This is one of the things that gets me worked up a little bit, and so I don't want to flip my lid, but this whole Michael Flynn situation, it basically says you can lie to the FBI, which previously was a crime. It's a felony, lying to the FBI. There's been so much lying in this current administration. They're trying to make that like policy that you can just lie just about any time, that the truth doesn't matter at all. But in a court, in a context of law, you kind of have to tell the truth. It's not that complicated, but like you can lie in so many other ways, and we just don't have any way of checking it. There's not an easy, there's not an easy fallback. There's not an easy response in the press, on Twitter, on Facebook. If you're just gonna lie, people have to look. They have to do work. You don't have to do any work to lie, But then people have to do a ton of like homework and stuff to prove that what you're saying is not true. It creates this scenario that is pretty crappy. And I don't know. There's no easy way around it. But yeah, apparently, I guess this attempt to throw out the charges against Paul Manafort is what they're saying is that the charges overlap with the federal charges, but then New York District Attorney is like, whoa, hold on a second. We don't want to throw this guy to the feds, because if it's federal charges, Donald Trump can just pardon him, and then he doesn't get punished the way he should have. The dude was indicted heavily, multiple charges. Manafort, I mean, his own corruption, his own dealings with not paying taxes and fraud and that sort of thing, but it's a bank fraud and tax fraud charges. The dude's, they're going to try to have him, and he's sentenced to 7 more years in prison apparently, but he may be released now, partly due to coronavirus, and also if they're able to get these charges sent to dismissed, and so it's just a federal offense, throws it back into Obama's court. Anyway, this is really exciting, deliciously funny material here about charges. But let's take a look at something that wasn't reported well, that you may not have been hearing about, and that is quite disgusting in my estimation. Let's take a peek here. We're at migrant kids. The parents of 666 migrant kids, a higher number than previously reported, cannot be found. Lawyers can't find them. Still a problem. So apparently last month, the lawyers ordered migrant families separated by the Trump administration. They ordered the Trump administration to find the migrant families that had been separated, and they couldn't find the families of 545 kids. Now it's 666, a number that any numerology freak would tell you is not a good number to have separated from their parents. 666 is one of those numbers that you just don't want to be trotting around. Now, this story has been out there, but the fact that they still can't find these kids' families, and it's Thanksgiving. I mean, think about it. Like, what are you thankful for? I mean, I guess you could be thankful that you're alive and hope that your parents are alive, or vice versa. But then that's a lot of hope and not a lot of thankfulness. There's two very different things. And a good thing about this, and we'll see how it plays out, but is that it does highlight how President-elect Biden is going to have to step it up, because these issues are heightened in everybody's minds. So things that they messed up on in Obama's administration that Biden screwed up on, he can't get it past the way that he did before, and that's a good thing. So that leaves us to the Treaty on Open Skies. Now, this originally was announced on May 21, but more came out. I'm just going to close down these moose. Now, on the Treaty on Open Skies, so this is apparently the situation where Donald Trump keeps pulling out of these treaties that we're in if Russia doesn't comply with them, because part of the point is to get Russia in line. And okay, but the problem is this gets like this particular one is a and I have more on this. Let's see if I can find this. This particular one is a problem with. Oh, here we go. with not just Russia and how they're behaving, but how the United States has been like helping out with other European nations that are threatened by Russia, and they're all kind of pooling resources together, including two of these planes. I had this tweet pulled up, and I think I might have gotten rid of it, but these two planes that are said to be, I mean, apparently Donald Trump is going to decommission them. Okay, yeah, this is where the Air Force continues to assess options for realigning, repurposing, or retiring these two OC-135B aircraft. Now, like pulling out of this, like saying that pulling out of this treaty thing is like is a way of basically punishing Russia is malarkey. Just because Russia's not, giving all the access to airspace so we can fly these essentially observing planes over, and see if they're occupying Ukraine and if they're doing some kind of, military actions that are belligerent. It's pulling out of the treaty is not going to make them do less bad stuff. It's not going to stop them from being jerks. It just means that there's now nobody looking at what other people are doing, or if Russians are flying over other nations. Now there's just nothing. The idea that that's like, okay, now that's your punishment. That's your punishment, bro. No, Russia doesn't depend on that. It's not like we kicked them out of school or something. Like you're suspended now. You're not going to get your high school diploma. Russia isn't like waiting for some gift at the end of this thing. It's been holding their feet to the fire, even if they're being bad actors. You could punish them other ways by just sanctions, doing stuff like Russians have tons of money in America invested in, property, apartment buildings. There's all sorts of ways you can hold their feet to the fire and get them to actually not only stay in the treaty because they're already in it, but actually adhere to it. But walking out of the treaty does not do that. Now you have to, whatever, the U.S. is probably going to re-enter it. Yeah, it's a sad situation, and I've heard that, and now this is not clear, but that Donald Trump is going to decommission these planes, the 45th Reconnaissance Squadron. I would be curious if he has them. The idea is that he's going to have these planes, these whatever. Who knows what their value is now, in the millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions, that he was going to have these planes scrapped, decommissioned, and turned into scrap. So basically he's kicked Biden in the shins on his way out, and screwed us over, I guess, as taxpayers, because then they have to build new planes. I mean, if they're ready to get rid of them, fine, but if it's just to diss Biden, that's the only reason he's doing it. It's a sad situation. It's bullshit. Anyway, what do you say they can still ride with any of our allies? I don't know. Yeah, it's a sad pullout, and pulling out of all these treaties. It puts us in a weaker position. So, all right. PA, also known as Pennsylvania. Today, PA stands for Pause Arithmetic. The Attorney General, Josh Shapiro, has said that this new order from the Pennsylvania state judge that temporarily blocks certification, it's not actually going to change anything when it comes to the appointment of electors. Relax. I know it sounds scary. It sounds high tension. Yeah. It's going to be appealed in the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. Let's see what this guy says about, can you explain this to me like I'm 5? Everything is okay. This doesn't affect the presidential certification, and the PA Supreme Court is not Trump's friend. Would you like a cookie? Okay, I take one. And now it's Cookie Monster. Yeah, it's a sad situation that they're burning up our tax dollars in this useless. It's really a, I guess it's kind of like a charade is what you would call it. Now, one of the interesting results of these recounts is there have been some peculiar scenarios when it comes to, let's see if we can, let's drum this up. Final counts. So I don't even know if this bodes anything for recounts. This is final counts that are actually coming in, where we're learning the numbers are not what they were projected to be. So this particular one says, breaking sources on Dem and GOP sides confirm that the final count submitted by all counties in New York 22 to New York Supreme Court Justice Scott Del Conte will show that Representative Anthony Brindisi, Democrat, is ahead of Claudia Tenney, Republican, by either 12 or 13 votes. Wow. That is a very, very thin margin of winning. I mean, I wonder, so what is this guy says? The first time I ever voted, my friend and I went to the polls to vote against a very racist bad man we knew. So I wonder if he's talking about Donald Trump or Anthony Brindisi. I don't know what he's talking about. We're at 40% of his losing margin. He lost by 5 votes. Oh, okay, I see what he's saying. I think this is another competition. I don't know. We'll see what the if there is a recount. What is this? Let's see what this is somebody saying poll workers finding out they're going to have to do a recount. Yeah, that would suck that you have to recount whatever millions of votes because it's a 12-vote margin. But we'll find out. I thought this was a recount. If they win a supermajority in New York State Senate and have the ability to gerrymander. God, I hate gerrymandering. Why are we still relying on this? Oh, it's so sad. But as long as it exists, you have to do it. It's tit for tat. If you don't do it, the other side's going to do it. You're going to get screwed. So you just forced into it. Interesting. I wonder, they say someone might lose his seat after the reapportionment. Well, we'll talk about that actually in a moment because it's not 100% clear. Let's see. What is interesting is that I don't know anything about what this district in New York 22 district for the House includes. Utica, Rome, Cortland, Binghamton, Binghamton U, Hamilton College, Colgate, SUNY, Cortland, and the district including Chenango, gosh, all these Oneida. I've heard of that county. Madison, parts of Broome, Herkimer, Oswego, and Tioga. I don't know counties. I'm not a county person. All right. Interesting to me. Interesting how this might bring other races into question. I mean, I just wonder if they're going to be doing recounts I know that the Trump team has been trying to get these recounts to happen just in counties where there's a ton of Democratic voters, and they're trying to avoid places where they clearly won, which reeks of corruption. And what I wonder is if there's any way that the final counts or any of these recounts would trigger a reversal in Senate races where they thought, everyone predicted a Republican had won, and they did a recount. They found out, there's actually 5 more votes for this Democrat, and it would end up basically backfiring, that Trump is trying to throw shade on the American democracy and electoral system and claim fraud falsely and lie, out of his face hole, and then it would flip on him and end up losing them Senate seats. I don't know. That would be my dream. I don't know if that's even technically possible. That's just my fantasy. And I also like watching this GIF of this monkey puppet over and over again. Just adds delight. Wow. Now, there was definitely another reversal as well here in IA02, and I don't even know what that is. IA02 is a race. I assume it's Iowa. Rita Hart has taken the lead by 3 votes. Good God. If you don't think your vote counts, that is evidence. That's pretty clear. You could have been 30% of the people who determine whether or not this person was elected to, I don't know what her seat is. I don't know where it is. 3-vote race. There must be a movie about an election that comes down to 1 vote. Boy, this is really exciting democracy. This is where it really comes down to, the end of the reality show, and it's like, who's going to get eliminated from this island, and you only have a few votes left. It's going to be, but I am. And all right, we're up in this now. Yeah, there's not going to be a 269 electoral college tie. We already discussed that. So it's curious. I don't know how this is going to play out. We'll find out. We will find out. There's a lot of Simpsons memes, which I don't know all of the episodes of The Simpsons. Who's the traitor? That has to be Flynn. Yeah. Yeah, he's a traitor. Very interesting to see Flynn testify against Trump without his Fifth Amendment protections. I don't know, Brooklyn Dad Defiant. I'm sure there's usually a way to weasel out of this, but I'm very curious to see how that plays out as well. The only traitors I see left are leftists who are attempting a coup. Wow. He's not going to pardon Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper's dead. Oh, man. These dudes, there are some trolls out here. I don't know who this Nick Adams dude is, but he writing Democrat equals traitor to America is that is some shill activity. Very curious how this is going to play out. But yeah, very corrupt pardoning this Flynn dude. Let's find out what else we got going here. Oh yeah, let's do a quick break for consciousness.
I had an actual epiphany.
Really? Let's check out this woman's epiphany.
What if science and spirituality are the exact same thing? So everybody knows the equation E equals MC squared, which proves that matter is just condensed energy and can be converted back into energy. We also know that energy is never created nor destroyed.
E equals energy equals mass squared. No, mass times the speed of light squared. I don't know about that first point. That means if you're going at the speed of light, the mass, the object becomes massively dense somehow.
Which means that scientifically speaking, energy is the only thing in this universe that we consider to be immortal.
Whoa.
It has no beginning or end. What if energy is actually conscious? This would explain so many theories in science, such as the wave-particle duality shown in the double-slit experiment. If energy is conscious and electrons are energy, then electrons have to choose which way they go when they are being observed. It would also make more sense about the Big Bang, how it just came from nothing because it was a thought. Same thing with life. It was a thought. It could also explain certain mathematical phenomena, like the KEVID19 sequence, a mathematical sequence that pops up all over in the universe. And we don't really know why. We know that reality follows patterns, but what is causing those patterns? If they're all being created by the same brain, that makes sense. All matter in reality is just one consciousness. I had an...
That's a great fantasy. I mean, that's a lot of leaps. So basically, she's saying that we're in a simulation that's being run by one. I mean, there are many people here saying God has control over everything. This is just an argument for God and the singular consciousness of God. Maybe, but there are a couple of leaps there. The part that I do.
Epiphany. What if science and spirituality are the exact same thing? So
maybe. I mean, that's a dream. I think that'll be an interesting convergence.
Everybody knows the equation E equals MC squared, which proves that matter is just condensed energy and can be...
I just don't know if that does not prove that matter is condensed energy. It's traveling at the speed of light. Matter is there's actually a lot of what's called dark matter. There's more dark matter in the universe than there is matter. Like if you look at any atom, anything, this microphone, my nose, and anything, we know what atoms are, right? It's a nucleus, and then you have electrons orbiting around it. Some people have not had a basic elementary school or middle school education, but go with me on this. Matter is that. And if you imagine a nucleus, we've seen the illustration, a ball. I'm gonna go full court press here. If you just see a ball, right, a nucleus, and then you got the electron, whoosh, whoosh, hit my microphone stand. You see that? That's what. I don't have any. I mean, I have balls, but I can't pull them out. Okay, I'm pulling out this. Let's say this is a die. This is a 20-sided die. This is something that only a nerd uses. You understand? This is for people who play Dungeons and Dragons. This is for people who think they should have been the guy in Stranger Things. Okay? You roll this dice, or really if it's a singular, or you roll this die, that's plural. So you roll this dice and you get a 6, and you're definitely have been distracted from what you were trying to say before. My point is this: you have your nucleus, and then you have this little like electron flying around it, and that's an atom. One nucleus with the one electron flying around it, depending on the valence. I don't know what that is, what element it is, but the thing is, it's an atom, and it's a lot of space there. You got the nucleus, you got the thing flying. Like it's not, the electron's not everywhere at once. It can't be everywhere. So there's always like space, and it's tiny. I mean, if you think atoms are small, electrons are like one, whatever, millionth. There's a number. It's like 1 something thousand. Blah 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 blah. It's a tiny fraction. You're getting a lot of information in this show, way more than most people are entitled to from a stream. The point being, all the space in between the electron and the nucleus, and some atoms are, you got electrons flying around. You got a nucleus is like way up here, and it's like shoo, 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 and that's a freaking atom. Just this little blue. I mean, it's mostly dead space. It's mostly dark matter and dark energy, which is the space in between the subatomic particles. So it's not true that matter is just condensed energy. It's only condensed if it's moving at the speed of light. I mean, the electron's moving pretty darn fast, but other matter, it vibrates, but it ain't moving at the speed of light. I mean, everything vibrates. Everything's constantly, every particle vibrates. If it's not vibrating, the fact that it's vibrating is why you can't put your fingers through it. If the electrons stopped in every atom, you could just put your hand right through a brick wall. It's something like that. My point is, she's not right that all matter is condensed energy. It's just not. It's a lot of dark energy in most matter. A lot of space. It's a lot of dead space.
Converted back into energy. We also know that energy is never created nor destroyed.
She could have just started there. Okay? I mean, because there is energy. The universe, everything's vibrating. Everything's creating energy. We do know the law of conservation of energy, that like it's never created or destroyed. It's converted. It is converted into different things.
Which means that scientifically speaking, energy is the only thing in this universe that we consider to be immortal. It has no beginning or end. What if energy is actually conscious? I
mean, yeah, you could have just started there. Anyway, that's my point. I don't want to burst her bubble anymore. I mean, it's a fun video.
Would explain so many theories in science.
It would. I don't need to see that.
This would explain so many theories in science.
And I don't need to see that. So I've gone a little bit off the rails, is what I would say, which happens. But something sad happened too. Rest in peace, Diego Maradona, who died after suffering a heart attack, cardiac arrest at the age of 60. He was a big guy in South America, in Brazil, in Argentina, where he's from.
Will be remembered as the greatest footballer of all time.
He was somebody who created a world of possibility and an ability to imagine how great soccer or football, whatever you want to call it, could be for South America and how far they could possibly go. Somebody that they could look up to, and people describe him as the hand of God. Now, it's sad that Argentina lost this guy, and 60. It's young, you know. I'm glad it wasn't due to coronavirus, but such is life. Apparently, he had a notorious lifestyle led to alcoholism and addiction. So I don't know that much about his life, but I do want to say R.I.P. It's a sad day when you lose a hero. Moving on. What's it called when you tell someone that you want to, whatever, call out sick, you don't want to go to school, and they tell you, you can't do that just on a whim. You're going to have to prove that you have, say, a fever. And then you figure out a way to take the thermometer and you stick it like in the dog's mouth or butt or whatever it is. And you're like, hey, look, I got a fever. And so they're like, okay, you don't have to go to school today. That's gaming the system, right? Like, I just think that we don't want to. I don't want to see our system gamed that hard. I don't want to see. It feels like Donald Trump is sticking America's thermometer into a dog's ass and saying, "Look at all this. Look at all these fevers that are happening everywhere. We have horrible fevers. We gotta redo. We gotta recall this dog. We gotta get a new dog, and make sure that it's treated respectfully, and it should be ideally a red dog that is a Republican." That barks for me only. And all of this is it's just clearly disingenuous from a guy who never even owned a dog in office, right? What are you even talking about, dude? Take the thermometer out of the dog's ass, step back, walk away. You're going to have to go to prison or whatever it is you're trying to get out of by claiming that you have a fever or that our election, system is fraudulent or broken. It ain't broken. Next. I think this will be we need to do a quick palate cleanse, and then I'm going to break out of here. Gosh, it's already gone over. This is a squirrel getting drunk off of bad pears. And then teetering on the edge of a deck. Oh yeah, whoa. It's got that squirrel lean. You did see that? Oh dude, I felt like that at 3 p.m. today. I feel your pain. Those are some bad pears, bro. And then he just goes right back in. But no, hold on to that bowl, brother. Hang on, little guy. You got this, little guy. You're gonna make it. Just hold on to that bowl. Hold on to that. Don't eat more. No, don't. No, no. Dude. That's going to be me tomorrow. By the way, happy Thanksgiving. I mean that. Like a happy, drunk squirrel Thanksgiving to you. Now, what did I have here? Oh, I missed this thing about census fraud. I said I was going to talk about this. Look, this is kind of it's not insane. Insane would be an exaggeration. But, so the U.S. Census Manager told the census counters to use fake answers. I have a buddy who actually worked as a census counter. I'm going to check in with him and give you some firsthand. Not today, because I'm not that good at multitasking while streaming, but so this is a census field supervisor who she believes 5,300 cases in neighborhoods she managed were closed prematurely and removed from door knocking efforts after only one attempt by census takers to interview members of households in mid to late September. So this ties back to something that came up in the in these close elections, right? Where they're talking about how Anthony Brindisi was, 12 or 13 votes ahead of Claudia Tenney. And people are saying, interesting. There's a big deal. I mean, obviously in the Senate, there's majority differences here that could make a big difference in Congress and in state Congress as well. But what they're saying is some people claim that this isn't going to make a big deal. Like New York is likely to lose one more congressional seat after reapportionment. So what does that mean exactly? This is saying somebody's going to lose a seat. Well, let's see, Dems will blow up the Staten Island seat, eliminating that Republican. All upstate seats nudge southward to point to the point of combining two upstate Republicans into one seat and creating a new downstate Democratic-leaning seat in the process. So yeah, I mean, maybe. Yeah, now they're saying one seat will be lost, but multiple GOP members of Congress will be redistricted out. And I don't. This is some kind of math that I don't know anything about. I don't know how this works. I'm not sure what the deal is. But it ain't the end, my friend. Huh. Yeah, I wonder. I don't know how this whole fight goes, how this, people keep saying if New York loses one or two seats, either or both eliminated seats will be Republican-held seats. Interesting. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But this claim that this reapportionment is going to take seats away, I don't know how that's going to play out if this whole census thing blows up Trump's spot on trying to end the recount early. Because if they're doing stuff to expedite this whole recount, I'm sorry, not recount, end the census count early. They tried to expedite. They cut the census by a month in a high pressure situation with this pandemic, as if like, okay, there's a pandemic, so we need less time to knock door to door and get people to comply. Like, we're gonna tie people's hands behind their back. The only thing he wanted was to make sure that he could eliminate people from the census rolls who were not citizens. And the census has never been about counting all citizens. It's counting all inhabitants. And that comes from back, the early colonists being screwed over by the British and being like, look, from now on, if you're not yet a citizen, because British citizens would walk all over American colonists. They didn't have a vote. They didn't have representation. So the whole point was, it doesn't matter if you're a citizen or if you're an immigrant who's living here, you're counted and you're represented in the government. It has nothing to do with citizenship. That's one of America's backstops on tyrants, on being on taxation without representation. So anybody that fights that or makes a fuss about it is they're just a weasel, and they're a weasel full of human shit. So I personally hope that they take a look at the census and they say, look, there was fraud in the census, there was malfeasance, and this attempt to get them to wrap it up just so they can eliminate people and take millions, billions of dollars and congressional representation away from states that deserve it is could be reason to have the census properly assessed and finished. The basis of racism and xenophobia is just looking at another human being and saying, look, you don't count. You don't count as a person. Doesn't matter, you're not a real person in my eyes. Your vote doesn't count. The fact that you exist here, that you pay taxes, but you don't get the, Social Security benefits. You don't get to vote. You don't get representation because you're not counted in the census. Doesn't matter. That's not what this country's about. It's not what our founding fathers were about. And I'm very curious how this lawsuit's going to play out. it looks like this might pause or delay their ability to turn in their quote-unquote apportionment numbers and, ostensibly try to rig Congress and all the apportionment money. So let's see how this goes. This gaming the system and trying to break the rules in your favor is it's a beloved task of Republicans and including our president. And I'd love to see him stymied. Because it's against our Constitution, it's undemocratic, and it's a bullshit move. So let's see what else we got here. I can tie this up in a neat little bow. Uyghur concentration camps. All right, this is an image of Chinese Uyghur concentration camps. So these are Uyghurs being held down, wow, by a bunch of security forces. What is this? Look at that. Holy crap. Why are they all wearing blindfolds? What is this? This is what's happening in China in these Uyghur concentration camps? This is this stuff that Donald Trump was like, you know what, Xi Jinping? You're good. Yeah. Handcuff hundreds, thousands of Muslim Uyghurs in China, blindfold them. What the hell is this? Look at how they're marching them out. This is 2020. This is the thing, is that we act like what the Nazis did, what people have done in genocide and state-run violence in the past is never going to happen again. But then all that's different is that in the past, those dudes were proud of what they were doing. Nazis, they were like the guys that the alt-right dudes that marched in and said, Jews will not replace us. They were these guys who, and don't repurpose a clip of that because I look like a freaking Nazi. I'm Jewish. Okay, I'm a Jewish Nazi, if anything, and I'm not a Nazi. So it can happen here. It is happening here on Earth. It's just that people aren't proud of it the way they were in the 1940s, 1930s, or the way that they are now in a lot of places that just don't get the news coverage. These are things that aren't being played on radio. Pardon me. They're not being played on television. That's always a sign when you yawn in your own stream. All right, let's wrap this up in a neat little bow. Yeah, there are no clean hands in history, and these guys, let's hope they're brought, called to the carpet, punished internationally. All right, this is an article from a dubious news source, and I knew it when I saw this link. Whoops. Lipstick effect caused by the COVID crisis. I don't know what that is. But you know that this is not a super legit source when you see mortified mom fails to notice X-rated rip. So does school run with the bum on show. So I guess she went to school with her butt hanging out. I don't know. A huge tiger. See, this is the kind of stuff. I know that a news, like the way that this video is marketed, we know that this is not the most legit news source. But I am curious now. I want to see this video of a huge tiger launching an attack on the world's deadliest bear. Like this is, I am the prime audience for this, and it won't even play. Come on. I got tricked into clicking on this video. It's not a lion. This is a huge tiger. It's not a lion. and world's deadliest bear. How do we know that's the world's deadliest bear? This is why I'm saying this article about vegans might not be legit, because they clickbaited me into looking at this video. There's way better tiger versus bear videos. Dude on the video said tortellini. Oh, jeez. Yeah, it is really at the end. Okay, so it wasn't. They didn't say world's huge tiger. They didn't say huge lion. They said huge tiger. 660-pound tiger launched an attack on the world's deadliest man-killing bear. How do we know? Whoa, that bear is freaky. Oh, it's a sloth bear. Well, that does kind of change things. That bear looks like its nipples are hanging out, like, heavily. Check that out. I don't know much about sloth bears, but apparently they're rough. And then I'm just routed into all these, like, 16-foot crocodile and shark. I'm the guy. If you're wondering who watches these videos of huge animals fighting world's most dangerous animals, it's me. And because of that, and because this is a place that baits people like me, I don't know if this study's real. 43% vegans, 43% more likely to suffer broken bones than meat eaters, we're told. Really? Double the risk of suffering a broken hip compared to a meat eater. Osteoporosis study covered 50,000 British people over 2 decades. Found out that giving up animal flesh weakens bones and can trigger osteoporosis. Now, I know a lot of vegans. I was vegan in the beginning of this year, and then the pandemic really, look, I can't afford to be vegan in a pandemic. It's too tough, man. The pressure. The sad thing is that, I mean, I don't want my buddies to get their hips fractured because they believe in plant power. I'm a vegetarian now, actually pescatarian, because I do eat fish. And it's people like Sir Paul McCartney, Pamela Anderson. Actually, I'm not worried. They're going to be, I mean, it sucks if Joaquin Phoenix is going to get his hips broken. But, I mean, they've probably got good health care. But even still, like, it remains to be seen. I saw this comment that said that this article is sorely misleading. The paper shows that female menopausal vegans with low to moderate BMI who became vegan before the widespread implementation of dairy alternatives with calcium have a minor increase in fracture risk, which is low to begin with. It's really, and then they said, is there any wonder that half the population lap up this anti-vax and 5G conspiracy theories when science journalists write deliberately misleading clickbait nonsense like this? Interesting. I'm very curious to know if this is simply a clickbait enterprise, manipulating information to make vegans look weak, which is what people have always been doing. And it's possible that if the study was done over 2 decades, but it was from 93 to 2001, and that was like 40 years ago that started. It could be that it's not up to date, that people are getting much better amounts of calcium supplements. Also, if you're vegetarian, it's not this. You're not really you're not at risk here. So, anyway, true or false? That one, the Uyghur thing looks true. It fits the other reports I've seen. This one is, I'd say, the risk of being wrong is high, but the jury's still out. And on that note, let's take it to our final Thanksgiving, pre-Thanksgiving exploration. You're probably going to be watching this video on Thanksgiving because, I mean, we've got 15,000 people on Facebook right now, but usually it's more than that. Mysterious, shiny monolith found in otherworldly Utah desert. AP, even the Associated Press is going hard on this discovery. Now, they say this is a November 18th, 2020 photo provided by the Utah Department of Public Safety. It shows a metal monolith installed in the ground in a remote area of Red Rock, Utah. The smooth, tall structure was found during a helicopter survey of bighorn sheep in southeastern Utah, and officials said on Monday that state workers from the Utah Department of Public Safety and Division of Wildlife Resources spotted the gleaming object from the air. Interesting. Let's take a closer look. So this gives us some context. Apparently, they saw it from the air. They landed to check it out, and the exact location is so remote that they're not even revealing where it is because they're afraid people are going to try and get to this thing, possibly ignite its energy core and start conducting some kind of communication with aliens using it. That's not what they said, but that's one of the things I'm wondering. They're worried that people might get lost or stranded trying to find it, and they'll have to be rescued. It's going to cause a whole problem. So here's two guys, and immediately they got two guys trying to stack up on it and do some kind of strange mating ritual. Not clear exactly what this is, but these guys are definitely having fun. Oh, he's probably trying to look on top of it to see. Now, what I heard is that they're pretty certain that it's human-made, but other people are on the fence about this. Here's a video. Let's take a peek.
On this particular day, they were working alongside our state partners, the Division of Wildlife Resources, counting desert bighorn sheep in that area. As they were, doing their count and flying around, they noticed an object in the southeastern Utah desert amongst the Red Rock. So they landed the helicopter and went and checked out this, what we now know is a stainless steel monolith, some type of art installation that someone has actually put into the Red Rock there in that location.
That is just wild.
I've heard everything from did this fall from the sky, did it and kind of implant itself there, is it otherworldly, without
Maybe.
looking at it close and seeing that there are in fact human-made rivets that put this thing together.
How do you know?
You could definitely let your imagination run wild. For all we know, this has been there 40, 50 years, maybe more, and it's the type of material that doesn't degrade with the elements, and it may only be a few years old. Who knows? Obviously, we don't want people going out there and digging into our Red Rock on public land and placing stainless steel objects. We take it very serious when things are defaced or painted out in our public lands, and this would be taken as seriously.
Interesting. I want to know how they know it's human-made rivets. What if it's alien-made rivets? What if it's rivets made by the Anunnaki? We don't know. Are you going home for Thanksgiving? Guess what? You can come right here to KEVID19 at the KEVID19 Show. Just go to KEVID19.com. It'll take you to my YouTube page. We got a playlist with all the KEVID19 shows. You can spend Thanksgiving with me, Kevin Berrey, and I will host you through a whole series of interesting and mind-twisting, mysterious stories about things like otherworldly shining monoliths in the Utah desert. I will bring it, and all you have to do is absorb it. That's all you got to do. It's not that complicated. I wish I had more for you. I don't. Alien Obelisk was my end point. And I know that there was a oh, here we go. A great version of it that we could fade out on. Something like this. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. A little monolith music. You go, CBS News. Whoever found that chill track deserves a big high five. Thank you. This is the KEVID19 Show. I hope you've enjoyed it. I know I have. We are not CBS News. We are monolith information only. Good night. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Good luck. Don't travel if you don't have to. Don't kill your grandma with coronavirus if you don't have to. Don't make a blood pact against your siblings. See how many people you can infect. Or do. I mean, it's your life, but just know what you're getting into. And just don't be a killer. You know who, if you heard this message and you're thinking about it, you know it's for you. Don't do it. Why? Why would you do that? KEVID19 Show, episode 14, Moose Licks, out. I am your host, Kevin Berrey, saying Happy Genocide Remembrance Day. Goodbye.